Good afternoon to all of you. Let me introduce myself, Dr. Saju K. James, Director MBA of IIMT Business School of IIMT Group of Colleges in Greater Noida. Today, I want to discuss on the topic change management. I believe that is one of the most important topic that I need to discuss in this current situation. Change management. As you know, there is nothing permanent except changes. Changes that we need to face the changes whenever it is going to happen in our life. The only constant is change. Change is inevitable. And the changes can either be forced upon us or created by ourselves. I'm repeating, the changes that can be forced upon us or created by ourselves. And the changes that will affect the individual, the family, the organization, the country, the world, that means the entire human being. Now we are going through the pandemic situation due to the COVID-19. And we are forced to accept the changes. As I said earlier, the changes that is either forced upon us or that can be created by us. But now we are in a situation, the changes that is forced upon us. It means on March 19, 2020, our Prime Minister has announced a Janata curfew on March 22. And on March 24, he announced a 21-day nationwide lockdown. And all of you are very much aware that this lockdown has been extended further. And all of us are in a situation where we are still not in a position to adjust to the changed situation. For an individual, many of the individuals, they lost their job, and many of the individuals commit suicide as they were unable to face the changed situation. And many people died on their way back to home. Their income that has reduced like anything. And many of the corporates, even in their case also, since they need to survive, they took a decision to minimize the salary of the individuals. And that is happening everywhere. It is not only in India, across the world, the same thing is happening. The individuals, they are struggling. The family is struggling. The corporate are struggling. The country is struggling. And the entire human being. It is the first time in the history of the world that entire human being is in a position that they don't know what to do. What is the next step that they have to take? And that's why I said change management is the most important point, most important topic that we need to discuss at this stage. And while announcing the lockdown, Prime Minister said very clearly that we are very much confident that we have sufficient facility or capacity to make it sure that this pandemic situation will be in our control. But still, we are not in a position to control these things. And the number of COVID patients are increasing day by day. And we faced the similar kind of situation. It is a forced change that has happened on November 8, 2016 at 8 p.m. While Prime Minister Narendra Modi gave a surprise address to the nation saying he wants to make a special request to Indian citizens. As of midnight on that day, Modi said all rupees 500 and rupees 1000 notes would no longer be valid currency. Many of the people, they were not in a position to cope up with that change. The similar situation they faced. Many of the people, they commit suicide, or they lost everything for many of them. The corporate struggled, the country struggled. And since there is a lot of criticism from the opposition parties and of course from the public, the Prime Minister announced in such a way, मेरा प्यारा देशवासियों, मेरे को 50 दिन दीजिए, ये 50 दिन के अंदर मैं बता दूंगा हमने जो डिसीजन लिया वो सही थे. But still we don't know that decision that our Prime Minister has taken on that day, whether it was right or wrong. Anyway, in our case, there is no other option. We have to go through the situation. That is the change, and many of us still struggling due to that situation. If you are looking into the case of the managing change for individual, now let us look into the case of managing change in our career. Yesterday, there was a chief guest with us, an IAS officer. He changed his career from an IAS officer to an MLA, to an MB, to a union minister. And he said very clearly, he was very much confident while changing his career. That is due to his confidence. But are we in a position to accept the changes in career? And why these changes in our career? We need to discuss on how, what, and why. The changes as a how. How do I get promoted? It's a question. How do I improve my efficiency? How do I improve my value? Nowadays, you know very well, it is a struggle for existence. We have to change. If you are looking for the promotion, of course, we have to add up certain value in us. Then only the company will consider, the organization will consider us for a further promotion. So how to improve our efficiency? We need to work hard. We have to make it sure that we are updated on each and every day. We are getting sufficient information from each and every point here and there. And how do I improve my value? Nowadays, the corporates or the country, they are looking for the people with a certain value. So it is our responsibility to make it sure that we are improving in certain values too. Then changes as a what? What kind of changes are necessary for my success? Today, you may be in the position of manager or the general manager or the CEO of the company. So what is the guarantee that tomorrow you will be continuing in that position? You have to do something. You have to do something for the continuous success in your life. Then you have to take a decision, what I am trying to accomplish in my life. This what? It is repeatedly asking what you have to do, what you are trying to accomplish. Then why? That is another question. Where do I need to progress? Many of the people, they are thinking, okay, whatever the salary I am getting now, I am very much happy. Where should I think about a change? Where do I need to progress? I am happy with whatever I am. For such people, the career that is over. They cannot think about progressing further. Then they may think, where do I need to change myself? Where do I need to progress? Where do I need to change myself? As I said earlier, this is a time you can survive only if you are changing. And that is the answer. It is the answer to why do you need to progress and where do you need to change yourself. There are certain prerequisites at individual level. Where should I change? It's a question we need to think about. I should try to understand that where should I change? That why. And who is giving the answer to that why? Our brain, our intelligence, our thinking power, the head. You have to change. And if you are looking into the emotional point or the motivational point of view, our heart is taking the decision. What is in it for me? The heart is taking a decision. Then the action. Where should I do differently? The behavior. A different kind of behavior that the organization is expecting from us. We have to do the corrective actions that everybody is expecting from us. These are the prerequisites. Where should I change? What is in it for me? And where should I do differently? Of course, now we need to focus on the real change management in an organization. As I said, the change management that is very much important for the individual, for the family, for the organization, for the country, as well as for the entire human being. Now, since we are into the business, or if you are part of the organization or an institutor, we have to think about it, managing changes in an organization. There are three questions. Where do organizations change? Is it necessary that organization need to change? Then another question, where do some of these changes fail? Even if there is an initiative from the management or the senior people in an organization, where do some of these changes fail? There are initiatives, but around 70% of the initiatives of the changes failed miserably. That is due to the lack of support of the people in that organization because they are not ready to change. Then the third point, how can we help organizations change more successfully? So my entire discussions will be based on these 3 points. Where do organizations change? Where do some of these changes fail? And how can we help organizations change more successfully? If an organization is suffering from lack of teamwork, it is inevitable that a change is needed. I'm repeating, if an organization is suffering from lack of teamwork, it is inevitable that a change is needed. Then reconfigures components of an organization to increase efficiency and effectiveness. As in the case of individuals, in the case of corporates too, if they are not performing, then that is the end of that organization or an institution. Now let us look into the case of Nokia. The Nokia company, they were #1 cellular phone manufacturing organization in the world. But they are nowhere now. And they said very clearly, the chairman of the organization said very clearly, they did nothing wrong, but they failed. But they are nowhere. It is the reason they were not in a position to accept the changes that is happening in this particular field. There are many factors in an organization. If you are looking into the case of a manufacturing organization, the technical production process, it is our responsibility to make it sure that the production is up to the level. Whenever we are getting an offer from abroad, from a buyer, it is a responsibility of the organization to make it sure that the production is sufficient enough to make it sure that they are delivering the product on time. So they need to change. If they are not in a position to make it sure that the production capacity is not sufficient enough, they need to think about the change, the new technologies, how to improve the production efficiency. Do we need to add new technologies into the organization? Yes, definitely. And that's a change. And if there is a demand from the buyers that you need to maintain certain quality, and within that technical production process of an organization, if they are not in a position to maintain the quality due to a lack of infrastructure, you know very well the demand from the customers, it is increasing day by day. The competition is like that. So we need to cope up with the changes in the quality. There are cases in which certain manufacturing organization, they change the entire equipments to make it sure that they introduced the new technology, the production capacity is sufficient enough, and they are maintaining the quality as per the requirement of the buyers. Then the political processes, it will impose the organization to do some changes, the new organizational goals. It is up to the organization to take a decision. Is there any change in their goal? Definitely, they have to change. Then the conflict. If there is a conflict within an organization, then definitely there will be a change. If the organization is not taking the corrective action, then they will be in trouble. And whenever there is a new leadership, as the new managing director is taking a decision, because maybe a young chap who educated from USA or UK, if he is taking the charge of the organization, it's a new leadership. The requirement will change. He may try to impose a lot of things to the people. So everyone need to change. He has certain vision. It means based on the vision of the leadership, everyone need to change. Otherwise, they are out. And nowadays, many of the topmost people in an organization, they are quitting the job. But they are telling, no, it is very much difficult to adjust with the young boy who is educated from USA. And he is thinking or she is thinking that they know everything. And we are working with this organization for 30 years, 40 years, and we don't know. It's a kind of harassment. It's a humiliation. So we don't want to continue with this organization. But if they are ready to take the change, then definitely they can continue with that organization if they are supporting the new leadership. Then the organizational culture, the values. Nowadays, the public is demanding a certain values from an organization. And there are certain quality norms the production norms, the HR norms. It is changing day by day. The government will impose certain norms on the organization. But at this situation, whether that organization is capable enough to introduce that norms, or they are ready to accept that change, if not, they are out. Then the new member socialization. If someone new joining with an organization, it is a responsibility of the existing staff to make it sure that they are giving importance to them also. They need to work as a team. So we have discussed on the internal change factors. Now we are discussing on external change factors. What are the factors that is going to affect the organization externally? The immediate environment, the domestic competition. If there's a competition in the domestic market, of course, it is a responsibility of the organization to do something in a positive way to make it sure that they are surviving in the competition. The competition that can be for a better quality or for a better price or on the supply chain management to make it sure that the product is available in the market on time. Otherwise, the competitors will capture that market. So they need to change to cope up with the domestic competition. The population trends, if the trends are changing, then of course, it is a responsibility of the organization to adjust to the trends. Otherwise, no one will approach the organization. Then the societal trends, the social trends, the government actions. You know very well, the government will change their policy day by day. I was an entrepreneur long back. I was a managing director of a garment manufacturing company and introduced 3 brands into the market with more than 20 distributors. But at that time, the central government has introduced a new rule that an excise duty. The government imposed an excise duty on ready-made garments. They said, if you want to release the finished product, the garments from your warehouse, you need to pay 16% of the MRP of the product as an excise duty. Many of the organizations, they said it is not possible because there is no guarantee that they can sell their products in that MRP. They are giving a lot of discounts to the distributors and customers. So it is too difficult. And many of the organizations tried, and my organization was one of that. It is due to the competition. It is due to the pressure of some of the big clients into the market. The big giants, not the clients, the big giants into the market. They can change the rule. They can change the policy. They will do everything to kill their competitors. And they will influence the government also to take a decision to make it sure that that will be in their favor. And even though there are certain losses, they can manage, they can easily manage it. But that is not possible for the small players into the market. Then the general environment. We are discussed on the immediate environment. Now the general environment. The competition from foreign countries. Many of you are very much aware about the outsourcing procedure. In case a company in our country is not in a position to deliver a product at this price, there are many manufacturers in other countries. For example, China. They are very good in manufacturing. They may not be good in the product development. But whenever they are getting a product, they know very well that how to copy that product. They know how very well, okay, how to manufacture the products in tons and tons. It's a foreign competition. Earlier, USA has taken a decision, okay, it is advisable to proceed with the outsourcing only because we are the buyers and we can dictate the rule. We will take a decision, okay, this will be the price of the product. But now, it is not the buyer's market. It is a manufacturer's market, the seller's market. They will take a decision because they know very well that the entire world depends on them. If they are not providing the material, then there is no one. They killed other manufacturers in other countries due to the efficiency and the production capacity that they are introduced in their manufacturing plant. Then the social movements. If there is a strong movement against that organization, of course, they need to change. Then the political, economic movements, a lot of changes that can be happen in the economic situation, the political situation. There can be war. It is not in our control, but we need to change. Otherwise, we are out. Then, as discussed earlier, in the general environment, the technology. We need to upgrade the technology. Whatever I discussed so far, it is about the manufacturing organization. Of course, up to a certain extent, it is applicable to other organizations too. The technology upgradation, the professionalization. Experience is not that much important. We need to give more importance to the professionals. A professional is with maybe 10 years experience or 5 years experience, they can perform well than to a person who is working with an organization for 20 years or 25 years. But because they are coming up with new ideas. And you know very well, nowadays there is a lot of demand for the idea. A lot of new ventures are coming up. Even the students also entering into the business. The government is supporting, yes, the new idea. You just share your idea. We are ready to pay. We are ready to invest. That is a professionalism. The culture contact, that another thing. So it is our responsibility to make it sure that whether there is an internal factor or an external factors, an organization need to change. Otherwise, they'll be out. Then let us look into the case of the types of changes. One is fine-tuning. We have to fine-tune everything, the technology or the manpower with us. Fine-tune. Polishing their skill, upgradation of the skill, and adaptive to the new changes. The reorientation, further orientation, it is very much important, and recreation. These are the various types of changes. How many of you are in a position to cope up with these changes? Fine-tuning, change yourself, add more values. Think about added value courses. If I'm looking into the case of an education institution, reorient yourself, adapt to the situation, recreate something. So today, I want to conclude my session, and tomorrow onwards, we will discuss on the levels of organizational changes. Thank you.